One debauch at a time.
We're going to be smacking gum in the...
God damn it.
Okay.
I will smack the gum out of your mouth.
Here's what we'll do. We're going to be quiet and let her chew gum for about 30 seconds. Now I can noise edit that all that out. Okay, we got it. All right.
I should throw my gum away.
Let's just do this.
I have a lot of audio-sensitive people here.
Well, we're going to start off with a bitch session about the Atheist Avengers calling the PSF girls.
Yes.
Okay.
Notice he said girls.
Can we have a bitch session about calling it a bitch session?
Yes.
Also.
Why not?
We're going to have a lot of bitching on this episode.
I'm throwing myself completely under the bus.
Jesus, cum guzzling Christ. Wyatt.
That sounds good to me.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I am in a feisty mood today.
You got to thank the Lord, right?
I'm actually an atheist.
There is absolutely no doubt that atheism will win hands down.
If I were in a situation where I could stop a child rapist, I would. And that's the difference between me and your God.
Welcome to Atheist Avengers Radio with your hosts, Agent Wyatt Mathers and Major MacGuffin. Our continuing mission is to explore our world, to seek out injustices and oppressive ideologies, to leave science and reason in our wake, fighting for justice, truth, and equality for all. We are here to inspire the next generation of godless heroes, avenge the harms of religion, educate the uninformed, and ensure the well-being of all individuals by defending the separation between church and state. The Atheist Avengers. Because together, we can change the world.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Atheist Avengers. This is your host and producer, Wyatt Mathers. And as normally, I am joined by my co-host, Major MacGuffin. Hello, Major. How are you?
Hey, Agent White. How you doing today?
My voice is just a little bit deeper today. You hear that? Allergies in there?
Well, I think everything's coming through differently today because we're recording live from the kitchen.
Oh, the shit goes down early on this episode. So today's episode, we want to, wait, is it okay for me to call it our sister show?
Miss B is going to punch you.
Is that our I just got the
gonna-
finger from Miss B.
I think she's going to stab me with a toothbrush.
So this is our fellow.
Weird.
This is our Miss B is okay. Let me just narrate this. This is audio only. Miss B is standing here brushing her teeth at the moment, making sure she's got a clean mouth to talk.
No, that's not going to
Avengers.
She's going to clean up her wording.
Clean it up. So, as y'all might can tell, we've got the PSF ladies in the studio today.
Again.
Girls.
And they are going
stabbed in the heart. The misogyny in here is so thick you could cut it with a knife.
The conversation we had just a few minutes ago is probably going to be on the before the intro. I'm going to play it because we had a good exchange about not only me calling them girls, but me calling it a bitch session about me calling them girls. So why don't we just dive right in and say, hi, Demanda Wright. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Let me just start right off because several times I've done it.
We didn't even make it to the recording.
I have called it the PSF girls. And let me just officially to the world right now say I apologize for that. Now tell me why I'm fucking wrong.
Well, I think the conversation we had was about what I prefer to be called. And my dear, dear husband, Major MacGuffin, asked me why I don't like to be called a lady. And because I grew up in the South, I heard from a lot of people you have to act like a lady. And to me, that means that you are setting the parameters of my behavior. Like I have to keep my knees closed and I have to sit in a certain way and I can only speak when spoken to and I have to keep sort of a certain level of niceness, have a clean vocabulary. I'm not allowed to curse. I mean, we know what act like a lady means in the South.
Kitchens, sandwiches.
It's
right?
an Emily Post person.
It is. It's very 1950s. So He asked me what I like to be, what I would prefer to be called. And I said, if you're going to refer to me, then, I prefer woman. And it wasn't something that, I don't go around town saying, oh my goodness, you said ladies. I'm so offended. And I faint out. But if you ask me what I prefer, I can tell you that I prefer to be called a woman, not a girl, or a lady.
Yeah, we're certainly not girls. I mean, we're over 30. Come on.
So the PSF women are joining us today. Thank you for joining us.
And
PSF
we're very
women.
cantankerous.
If you would like to know what I prefer to be called, it's your badassness.
Your badass.
Your badassness.
I have never been one to get upset about being corrected because I would much rather be corrected so that I know than to move along and do it wrong and you sit there and bite your tongue about it.
Well, no, and most of the time it's not in a manner of being corrected. Like if I'm out in public and someone says ladies and gentlemen, I find that perfectly acceptable. But if you're,
but it's like ladies don't do that.
Yeah.
Ladies don't act that way.
Yeah.
You're not being a lady right now. Kind of a corrective thing. Like you have to conform to this one cookie cutter 1950s stereotype or you're not acceptable as marrying material and all that
I'll
shit.
tell you a quick anecdote. Like when, Major Mac and I were dating, I had a bit of a foul mouth. So we were
Really?
Yeah, imagine that.
That's one of the many things I loved about her.
Well, we were driving in the car and he was saying something and I, just dropped an F-bomb and he looked at me and he said, that just sounds so strange coming from you. Like, why are you cussing like that?
Unladylike.
You're just not, you're not ladylike. And I was like, X-fucking-zactly. So he sort
Kiss
of.
my ass, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I think after that moment, he got it. That he shouldn't set those types of expectations.
When you smacked him upside the fucking head?
Yeah, well, I haven't yet resorted to violence.
I have, but only because my mother-in-law has ordered me to do so on several occasions. when
What's
Mr.
your
Haven-
preferred form of violence?
Is your mother-in-law a Don? Or what? I mean, is she ordering hits?
Because he'll say something stupid or joking, and she's like, "You better smack him," and of course I follow through because I'm not one to not obey my mother-in-law.
And he likes it.
Yeah, he seems to enjoy that.
Miss B, you were saying something about the difference between the cultures in the North and South.
Yeah, I was raised in a church, but we didn't quite have as many people who were saying things about what is or is not ladylike in the North. So, I grew up in Michigan and, you can't really tell by my accent right now, but it was always like ladies and gentlemen or, and this lady that I met or something, it was never really, used as a corrective for me as far as I remember. Like it wasn't something that stuck out for me, growing up. So when saying ladies, I just don't think about it's more of an honorific for me. Right. Because of the culture up there.
And this is exactly my point. I think anytime we have a conversation like this, it gets blown out of proportion and the first reaction is, oh my, you're telling us what we can say and what we can't say, and you're making all these rules, and this is just silly.
Yeah,
like,
you're
and I
so
say what I
easily
wanna say.
offended.
And I never asked anyone to do that. Major Matt Guffin asked me what I preferred. He was interested, and so I told him what I preferred. And if I'm asked, I'll tell you what I prefer to be called. But I'm not, going around town, getting into rages and smacking people because they won't say the right thing.
Right.
I'm not going all angry feminist about it.
No,
but I do have a preference.
It's just about, communicating with the people that you're going to be hanging out with a lot and being a considerate fucking person.
Yeah, it's whether or not you give a damn. If you give a damn, then I'll tell you. Yeah. If you don't, I'm not going to bother because you're not going to do it anyway.
And frankly, Demanda, I don't give a damn.
I need my fainting couch right now.
She's practicing for our next sketch.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, and of course, Demanda, which she always does, makes a good point about how me saying girls, even though it feels so complimentary for me. I just feel like it's playful. It's like I'm calling you girls.
And you're not making the insinuation that they're really old.
Well, yeah, that, and it just feels...
it's a compliment or something.
It just feels more playful. It feels like I'm describing the playful nature of how they, how they do their podcasts, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for, being one of the girls, so to speak. And women use that term a lot for each other, but coming from somebody else or coming from men, honestly, that it gives it a different context.
Think about it this way. When you refer to other podcasts, do you say the boys?
Yes.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you say the boys or the guys?
The guys?
Like, which
Well, I
would
say
you
guys.
default to?
I don't know. A lot of the times I'll say
That's a
boys
good
or
question.
something.
No, you don't.
I'm not sure.
No, you don't. You'll
I
say
know
the
we
guys
talk
of
about-
cognitive dissonance.
Probably.
We talk about the whole,
'Cause
the boys club.
To me, sounds
and,
like little boys kind of thing, or the like old boys.
Well, I used to use that as an excuse. Somebody used to say, call me a boy or something. I think it was more or less like a derogatory thing. They were trying to put me down, and they'll say boy, and I'll tell them, well, you better feel again.
Unless they were quoting Phantasm, where there's like this tall, scary guy going, "Boy."
Oh, that was a beautiful movie.
No, I've never.
Right?
I live with you, and I've never heard you refer to like
Another
another
guy.
group of men as boys.
I think you're right. I think I do use guys more than boys.
And
so.
that's
We
the thing
probably
is
do.
that there's not really like for women, there's not really one of those
There's
terms
gals, but
that
it's not
doesn't
it's
have
very
those
similar.
connotations.
I will actually use
It's so
guys for like if I
For
was
women,
talking about y'all,
yeah.
I'd be like, "Hey, you guys want to go?"
Yeah.
blah,
So then
blah, blah.
it defaults to the male because there's not a casual way to refer to women that doesn't have some weird connotation to it. Like chicks is not really that nice, or
I mean-
ladies might be like trying to do the whole 1950s cookie cutter thing, and then women, then it feels
Oh.
like we're all 50. There's not really a way to say.
I feel like
group of-
gals, and I'm
Gals-
I'm wearing cowboy boots or something.
I don't know, gals. I like to say like gal pal and stuff. So
Yeah,
you
in that context, I like it.
Is it? I mean, I really honestly feel like that guys is gender neutral in a way to
In
me.
the
Of course you do.
in the north, it's used.
I mean, it really feels
Because that's the way it's always been used.
In the north, it's used.
But I never
as
really
almost
thought
a
about that. I'm just
gender-neutral
thinking
thing.
about that for the first time.
But you know what is gender neutral? Y'all.
That's right.
Y'all is my default
But
now
what-
because it's gender neutral.
I think the point we were talking about earlier when you said girls is that it feels so normal to you because it was the part of the culture that you were raised in. But that culture was very fundamentalist, patriarchal, and definitely promoted a certain view and role for women. And so coming from that culture, it sounds very normal.
yeah, guys is like the norm in the north for a group of people.
All right, so hold on to that thought. We'll come back and talk about how I was raised and how that fucked me up.
Yep.
Let's take a short break and listen to some news you can use with Willie Weiner, and then we'll come back with more from PSF In da Kitchen.
Oh, we're recording.
Okay, I was going to say, we're running out of time.
Are we doing something official?
Yes.
And now it's time for secular news and views you can use with Reason Alliance Media news correspondent Willie Weiner.
He's a star, but he didn't get as far as those who idolized his ways and means to prepare themselves to be better human beings. Well, they understood more than he had meant to say in his day. But that's okay.
Yo, Willie here. Listen up. I'd really like to talk to you today about Orlando, or HB2 and the transgender bill, but I know we're all still reeling from those events and I'm not ready to talk about them quite yet. So for today's segment of Heathen News and Views you can use, I want to talk to you about another very serious problem we're facing here in North Carolina and around the globe. It's called vaccine hesitancy. And the World Health Organization warned last year that it's a complex and rapidly changing global problem that requires ongoing monitoring and a plan to measure and address it. they've released a compendium of survey questions that you can use to assess whether you've got the disease and what caused it. And they also suggest some strategies for treating it. My good buddies over at the Secular Coalition from North Carolina have been working on 2 of those strategies, and they need your help. They're trying to engage religious or other influential people and groups in North Carolina to help promote vaccination and encourage our state legislatures to eliminate non-medical exemptions. North Carolina currently has a medical exemption and a religious exemption, but no philosophical belief exemption that's not founded upon a religious belief. So you might think that means Jesus freaks can opt their kids out of vaccines, but Birkenstock-wearing yuppies with liberal arts PhDs and a crash course in epidemiology from the University of Google can go fuck themselves. But here's the deal. According to the General Statute 130A-157, quote, there is no form for requesting religious exemptions in North Carolina. To claim a religious exemption, the parent or person requesting the exemption must write a statement of their religious objection to immunization, including the name and the date of the birth of the person for whom the exemption is being requested. This statement would then be provided to schools, child care programs, camps, etc., in place of an immunization record. If a family is requesting a religious exemption for more than one child, a separate statement should be prepared for each child. Statements of religious objection to immunization do not need to be notarized, signed by a religious leader, or prepared by an attorney. They do not need to be submitted to the state for review or approval. End quote. So that's right, getting a religious exemption to vaccines in the state's basically the equivalent of sending a note to school with little Johnny saying you have a religious objection to him reading Harry Potter. Last year, a bipartisan group of state senators introduced a bill in the North Carolina General Assembly that would have eliminated the religious exemption. And the anti-vax nutters came out of the woodwork denouncing them as Nazis and accusing them of medical terrorism. But vaccine hesitancy can infect more moderate and educated people, too. My favorite epidemiologist, Ben Goldacre, once noted, quote, as any trendy MMR-dodging North London middle-class humanities graduate couple with children would agree, just because vaccination has almost eradicated polio, a debilitating disease which as recently as 1988 was endemic in 125 countries, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. I believe we need to invest more in the science of anti-vaccination and do more to combat vaccine hesitancy. A recent study out of UCLA suggests that reminding people about the terrible diseases that vaccines prevent and their consequences appears to be a successful way to convince vaccine skeptics. That reminded me of an episode of the Andy Griffith Show from 1962 called The County Nurse. In it, Andy, Barney, and a pretty new county nurse try to get Rafe Hollister to take a vaccine shot.
I'm telling you for the last time, I ain't taking no shots.
And eventually ends up deploying some reverse psychology and a sad song to get Rafe to take his shot. And to illustrate the whole problem I've been talking about here, this episode of the Andy Griffith Show, it's been described by a natural health blogger and a food freedom activist as a, quote, disturbing forced vaccine push. So since dying from tetanus is apparently less disturbing than taking a vaccine, I want to leave you with a song Andy Griffith sung to Rafe Hollister, promised to sing to Rafe Hollister at his funeral, if he ain't too broke up.
Dig my grave with a silver spade. Dig my grave wide and deep. Dig my grave with a silver spade. Bury me 'neath the willow tree. Place my grave on a snow white hill. Cover me over with sod. Tell 'em I died to save 'em all. Tell my wife to marry again. Don't that clutch you?
All right, welcome back to the Atheist Avengers.
That was a long break.
The longest break ever.
Probably.
Was that a week?
long?
Wait, now, I completely forgot. Ms. B wasn't here last time, was she?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was.
Oh, okay.
I had
forgot
just
who
come
was
in
here.
toward the end of it, I think, because I don't think I was on mic before I started talking about
That's right, you wasn't here when we
North
started.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here, we were discussing
Girls.
the fact that I
Not
grew
the TV
up
show.
listening to my pastor. I actually don't think I
I'm
got
sorry.
to this part. Listening to my pastor talk about the women in the church as the girls. He'd be like, the girls are going to have us some
Fried chicken.
fried chicken and mashed potatoes after church today, and the girls are going to take up money for blah, 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 or whatever. The girls are going to have their own prayer service. So we were discussing, Demanda, about how that can be degrading. And as I was thinking about this, I realized that's exactly what he was doing to them. That was exactly what he was doing to them, was degrading them and putting them on a low, even lower than calling them ladies, which is already a negative term for him.
Right.
So he was already
He
degrading
was
them further.
infantilizing them.
Yes.
Yeah. So
That's the exact word. He was infantilizing them.
I
They're
gotcha.
so you've educated me already, but
Uh-oh.
we've got more education to do. That's for sure.
That's why we
Because-
have this podcast called Promoting Secular Feminism.
Oh, look at that shameless plug.
Of all the people here, I am the shameless pluggiest.
The shameless
She's
and the
the-
pluggiest.
She's
or
the shameless. She's the most shameless. There you go. She's the most shameless.
And you call yourself an
I'm the
English
most-
professor.
Yeah. I don't know how I did that. And I'm the most competitive, probably.
Okay, so here's
I don't
where
know.
I want to go with
We
this.
might be competing over who's the most competitive now.
Uh-oh.
I want you to explain to me, both of you can weigh in on this. When I make the mistake of saying girls, give me what happens in your head. Tell me how you feel and how you process that.
And I think with that, think about like whether we were in private or we're in public.
Yeah,
How would
context certainly matters.
Right.
Like if you were the only man in a large group of women and you were all like hanging out, I would go, oh, like one of the girls, because, you know, at some point somebody would have probably said, oh, you're just one of the girls. It's fine. And, you know, I think actually for me, if you said the girls, like as in one of the girls or like the group of the girls, for me, that's more like you're just one of us kind of thing. But if you're saying girls as in you're addressing me, then it feels like you have labeled me as a 12-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah. So when someone says girls, I'm like, So there is a moment always where I'm like, oh, they just don't get it.
That poor dumb son of a bitch.
And then, you know,
Of course, I'm
you can
I
tell
have
if someone's open, like if, for instance, if it were you, like I would know because I know you that you would be open for me saying something. If I'm in
true.
it depends on what group of people that I'm in, whether or not I like will correct someone.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense because Demanda has corrected me so many times now that I'm even scared before I'll think before I'll say women.
But We're in unholy matrimony, so.
Well, I mean, ultimately, people get too uptight when people correct them anyway. But, if it's something that bothers somebody, I always want to know.
Right.
I'd rather them tell me. I'm not saying it's not going to hurt my feelings or something like that, because I'll feel bad because I made the mistake.
Right.
It's kind of where I come from on it.
It's similar to like, and I'm not saying that this is exactly like that, but to me, it's kind of similar to like misgendering somebody where you know that you're trying. Like if you accidentally said, she instead of they, then, you corrected yourself immediately. Then I would go, okay, well, you're obviously trying.
Right.
Whereas like with, if you said girls and you go, oh, sorry, and then maybe ask, what do you want? How would you like to be referred to? Just having that consideration is nice.
Most of the time I realize where I'm at and that, I'm in the South and people talk a certain way and I don't want to be the person in the group that's making everyone else uncomfortable. Like, oh, we have to be careful around her. Like, I don't want to be that person. But if I feel like I'm in a group of men and they're doing that sort of thing and they're using that in order, to make me feel like I'm not as involved or my opinion doesn't matter as much, then that's when I'll usually call it out. Like if it's affecting my dynamic in a group or in a position, then I'll say something.
Like if they're using it in a belittling way.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm enjoying this talking about terms. So let's move on to something I know is going to just light the fuse.
Like you've been thinking about it. You have a list, don't you?
So tell me about if somebody says honey or darling.
I don't know. My grandmother did that all the time, so I don't know.
Well,
like, that doesn't really bother
I
me.
think it would have to do with context.
Definitely matters for this one. For me, it's like, if you.
Okay, let me give you context.
Okay.
You walk into a gas station and some guy's in there. Hello,
with the
darling,
side
hey,
eye,
honey, how are ya?
with the winky face.
Let's say it's the clerk. It's like, you having a good day, honey?
I flip him a double bird.
Well, I wouldn't in that consideration be like also like the age of the person. Like say for instance, you could be the same as like an old person behind the counter. And, a young lady walks in or says, hello, darling, how you doing? Or hello, honey, how you doing? But I think it's in the way, wouldn't it be in the way they approach you with it?
Yeah. And
you can kind of tell.
It tends to be a little less jarring if it's coming from a female.
Yeah.
Too. But if it's coming from somebody who is, Jesus Christ.
I think that gets into the realm of
that was not me.
That gets into the realm of catcalling, which is.
That's me.
Yeah.
Look at all these phones going on.
If it's somebody who is meaning to be leading with said pet name, then it really depends on the person. But if they're trying to get my attention by going like, hey, honey, how's it going? I'm like, fuck you. Also, it helps, for me at least, my height is very helpful in this matter. In that a lot of people are much shorter than me. So when they say things like, hey, honey, I can just look at them the way that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, it's very intimidating.
Like if you walk into
Major
a Waffle
Mac.
House,
Sorry,
you
edit
just
that out.
You just automatically
Nope.
expect for the waitress to call you honey.
Yep.
Yeah. Or the fish camp around here. We have fish camps, and that's what happens.
Oh, yeah.
You go to
However,
eat fish, you're going to get called.
I do have a story about it. I walked into a Waffle House one time, and it was a
Did
waiter.
you get pecan waffles?
It was a waiter, I guess. Would you call him a waiter?
I guess so.
Waiter
Server?
sounds too formal for
Server?
a Waffle House. The server
Yeah.
was a male, and he still fucking called me honey.
Well,
I was tripping out. I was like, is this a Waffle House policy? Is this something you're supposed to do? You're not allowed. I don't know. But it was surprising.
No, I mean, I think I can tell the difference between when someone's calling me honey because they're Southern and it's a term of friendliness, or if someone's like going like and looking you up and down while calling you honey, like that's a different thing.
Hey, honey.
yeah, I think it's all
Are your
the
legs
approach.
tired?
When I come into the gas station, like I'm not there to meet people, so
Yeah. It's usually, I mean, for me at least, my experience has generally been people in gas stations, and things of that nature where you just get in and get out. It's like, hey, total 520. Okay, bye. That's it. If anybody makes more conversation, it's usually a woman, and it's usually about whatever I'm buying. So
I tend to wear a lot of hats, though, so sometimes I have to have conversations about those.
That's true.
I'm like, oh, your hat.
You have to have hat conversations.
Yeah.
We were in a Greek restaurant one time, and this woman was totally making sexual remarks to my wife and another lady. And I'm sitting here thinking,
damn, I wish he'd say something to me.
If that was a male waiter, he wouldn't get away. I mean, because I can't think of exactly what she was saying. I really wish I could.
But like innuendo.
It was way over the top of what would have been allowed for any male waiter to say. And it was just kind of like, wow.
Well, it probably was over the top
that
for her to
probably-
say.
It was,
I was
but
gonna say
it
it
caused
probably-
us all to go, yeah, right, you know?
It would probably depend on the context of
'Cause we're guys.
the
We
waiter
suck.
themselves too. I mean, if you're talking to somebody
Guys
who
with a
is-
lesbian fetish.
well, and if it was a group of women and it was a cute male waiter, according to their tastes, who was doing the same thing, that probably would have been seen as just a way of getting tips.
Yeah.
So it depends on the context again.
All right. So how about this?
See, that one didn't get me as riled up as you thought it would. Like, I know you're trying. That didn't do it. Try again.
Okay. So
I'm so zen today.
here, let me just totally be an MRA for a little bit here.
Oh no, should we get the alarm out?
You know, men get a bad rap. I can see.
You can't even get through the
I can't even get
sentence.
through
I
it.
already rolled my eyes.
Men get such a bad rap because, you know, if we go and we hit on a woman, instead of just saying no, she calls us a creep. So, unless she thinks he's cute. So it's like you can't win if you're not cute or considered to be cute to that particular person.
Well, shit, I've never had that problem.
Well,
That happened to me.
if you're interested in a person, the best way to start out is to say, hi,
honey.
Not, gee, your tits look nice.
Yeah, I
That's
think
not
this.
the way to go.
Okay.
That's like 10 minutes later, maybe.
No, and a
Have
lot
some
of
conversation.
and a lot of women in certain places aren't there to be hit on. It's like I don't understand this idea that everywhere you go, the women are there just so that you can hit on them.
Yeah.
Like that might not be what. No, some women might be there for that, but all of them aren't going to, and all of the men aren't going to be there for that. Like that's not why they're in that scenario.
Right.
And so I think it's always a good idea. Here's a little lesson if you have boundary issues, like to go into a place, and if you're interested in someone, you know, keep it subtle at first. Hi, how are you? Why are you here? Have some conversation. And then if all of that goes well and she or he is receptive, then you can maybe ask them out to coffee. Like, don't say, look, you know, God, look at your ass, man. That's fine. Like, instead.
I got a car out back and it's got a back seat.
You know, I'm interested in
cracked the
getting to
window.
know you more. Would you like to have coffee with me sometime? And then, like, if someone's hitting on me in that way, I'm just like, you know, either I'm saying, you know, yes, I'm interested, or no, I'm not. I don't feel like you've, you know, leered and drooled over me first.
You hit on me.
It's the conversational equivalent of a dick pic.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's like, hey, look, you know what's going to get your attention and want to fuck me is seeing a picture of my dick.
see, I had
That's
It's like,
definitely
oh,
gonna
look
work.
at you, you're fine.
every intention in walking in here and just being the asshole
Or at least
and
try.
saying stuff like, well, but if a woman's at a bar, then she should be expected to be hit on.
Yeah, same if
But
you're
I
at a
can't
gay
even,
bar.
I can't even get it.
I mean,
do it.
everything that could be seen as like
Sometimes
women are
I'm at a
asking
bar
for
to get
thing.
drunk. Like,
It's-
imagine that.
Like, think about being at a gay bar for a minute and thinking about like, okay, some of the women are there because they're hanging out with their gay friends and dancing, and they might be straight, maybe. But then there also might be
She doesn't
some
believe it.
men there
Oh.
who are straight, who are hanging out with their lesbian friends, but also might be hanging out with their straight female friend who they're hanging out with their gay best friend. And like, you don't want to make assumptions is the thing. You don't want to make an assumption that the person that you're talking to is going to be receptive to approaching things in that manner.
But if you buy a girl a drink, she's obligated to at least talk to you for that. Oh, God.
Dude. Y'all know how much I can drink.
Amanda knows I'm fucking around. I wanted to get her riled up. I wanted to hear her just...
You know what? The creepers sit at the bar, and then you walk up to the bar, and you just want to get a fucking shot of whiskey. And they're like, can I get that for you? I was like, I just want my goddamn drink. That's it.
Okay.
And you know what? The creepers creep around the bar trying to do that because that's their only game.
What if I want to sit at the bar? What if I just want to sit at the bar and drink and not talk to anybody?
Their only game is like, can I buy you a drink?
Right.
I'll talk to everybody, and that's just me. But you know, approaching somebody like Amanda, you're not going to want to go like, "Hey, bitch, what's up?" I mean, I might, but that's because I know her very well. And if I buy her a shot of whiskey, she might be nice.
And I flip her the bird all the time.
That's true. Also true.
Oh my God.
Now, I went to, I was at a gay bar one time.
Just once?
Well, I've been several times.
I was gonna say,
I go with friends.
I've heard.
And, I loved it because towards the end of the night, when all the guys were dancing with each other, the girls were dancing with me. So I was like, yeah. All right.
I was at
all the girls in the gay bar aren't straight.
No, I know not all of them are, but the ones that were dancing with me were. And they were, see, here's the double standard. They were pissed off because the guys were focused on each other. And there was some straight girls there that were mad. This one girl was talking about her friend, which was her best gay friend. And he's over here hitting on this other guy and they're hitting it off, you know. And she's pissed off because he's over there not paying any attention to her.
Okay, well, that's because Sex and the City set up this whole scenario where if you're a cool girl, you can keep a gay man as a pet. I mean, that's seriously stupid.
Well, but the other thing is also, like, if they're the one who invited you to go out and, like, wanted to hang out, then I could understand, like, wanting to dance with the person that you came there with. But if you don't make that expectation completely, explicitly clear, and that person is going there to be on the prowl, then
yeah, they need to know girl code. Like, if a group of girls go out together, you don't like find someone you really like and go off and dance with them and ignore the girlfriends you came with. Yes. Like, it's girls' night.
Yeah, that's true. And there's another example of when it would be a really bad time to approach with a shitty one-liner. Is like, if you see a whole bunch of girls who are hanging out together,
don't do it.
Chances are,
don't do it.
They're not there for you. No. If they are mingling and looking around and trying to like make conversation with people individually, then that would be a good time to approach and say, "Hey, what's up?" But if there's a whole bunch of girls that are just hanging out together and talking to each other, then that's
just going to tell you
probably
to fuck off.
a poor opportunity. So a lot of it too is just social awareness. Like noticing when a good opportunity to just have a conversation with somebody would come up. So,
gotcha. Well,
that's a good tip.
I'm totally failing.
Dating tips for misbehaving. That's totally going to be a thing.
I know. Dating tips from Amanda, and I haven't dated in like, how long have we been?
We've been together.
I've not dated in years either, but
14 years.
I did it a while.
My total plan was to come in here and just be like the stereotypical asshole guy that and say all these things, but it's really more difficult than I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, we'll still send a code 3.
Fashion Cops is recorded on location with the men and women of fashion law enforcement. All suspects are guilty until proven innocent in a court of public humiliation.
I'm Officer Hamroyd, and this is my partner, Officer Peppercorn.
Yo.
I guess I've always wanted to be a fashion police officer. My daddy was a fashion police officer. My mother was a fashion dispatcher. 3 brothers are fashion police officers. Hell, my granddaddy was in Milan during the Coco Chanel rebellion. I guess it's just in my blood.
Man, I just like telling women how to dress.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about ultimately, keeping the public safe from modes of dress that we don't personally approve of.
Yeah.
Unit 67, we've got an FFP on Main Street. Advising witnesses describe a female subject wearing a tight dress. Possible FFP 32.
An FFP is a fashion faux pas. FFP 32 indicates a possible clothes size violation.
I see her right there. Looks like a Jean-Charles de Casablanca knockoff.
What is that, a JCPenney?
Sears.
Ah, Jesus.
FPD, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to step up on the sidewalk.
Ma'am?
Excuse me?
Up on the sidewalk, please.
Sidewalk.
We need to talk to you. What's your name, ma'am?
Nina. Who are you?
FPD, ma'am. Fashion police.
What you wearing there, ma'am?
It's a dress.
Can I have you turn around?
Turn around slowly.
What I do?
Please just turn around, ma'am.
Slowly.
I'm turning.
Good.
What I do?
Now, what is that? A Castle Bay Jack knockoff there?
I think it's Marc Jacobs.
That ain't no Marc Jacobs.
Off the rack, I swear.
Looks like she's added a panel in the back.
Couldn't get the zipper up all the way, huh?
That's none of your business.
That is our business, ma'am. We're the fashion police.
What?
Well, ma'am, why didn't you just wear a jacket to help hide that?
Well, I mean...
Or better yet, just wear a dress that fits. What size are you anyway? 4? 5, maybe?
That's none of your business.
I will tase
She'll tase you. Now, calm down, ma'am. Nina, just answer the question, okay? That dress is a size 2. You are not a size 2.
Answer the question.
What question?
What size are you?
I'm a size 3, okay?
And that dress is a size 2.
There's no way that's no Marc Jacobs, Nina.
Are you on the way to a dinner party?
I've got a date.
You going out on a date like that?
What do you care?
Don't get snippy now, Nina.
I will tase you.
She'll tase you.
What do you care if I'm going out on a date?
Nina, you think that your date wants to see you in that dress that doesn't fit?
Hey, nobody wants to see that.
No, I'm going to throw up right now.
My other dress had a stain.
Then don't go out.
Buy another dress.
Or lose weight.
Hey!
Now, there's lots of options out there.
Wearing
Nina.
clothing that's too tight is not an option.
No, never.
I am a grown-ass woman. I can dress how I want.
Ma'am, I will tase you. Don't make me tase you.
Society has certain rules, Nina, and we're here to enforce the rules of society.
What society?
Decent society. Now, I'm gonna let you off on a warning this time, okay? Now, calm down. At least you tried to cover up the back with a cloth panel, but you need to go home and put that dress in a closet and buy a new dress.
And lose some weight.
You people are crazy.
Nina? Whoa, okay? My partner is just dying to test out her new taser.
I will tase you. I will tase you.
She's going to tase you. Now, calm down. Now, but we're not going to give you a citation, but you need to go home and get that dress off right now, okay?
F*** you.
Some people just can't appreciate what you're trying to do for them, you know?
You try to be nice. You try to give them a warning. Try to better somebody because they obviously don't have any taste.
It's a shame.
Hemorrhoid, over there at the park.
Oh, my. That's a FFP 99.
No, 97, I think.
Those are definitely jeggings.
I don't see any pockets.
Well, let's go find out. Hit the siren.
Woo, 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 woo.
Please pull over the curb.
Excuse me?
Please pull over to the curb.
Pull over? I'm like walking here, and so are you.
Somebody wants a tasing.
Are you making siren sounds with your mouth?
Don't tell us how to do our job, ma'am.
And, like, what is your job exactly?
FPD, ma'am. Now, what's your name?
Trish Sprinkles.
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 Yes, Sprinkles. Trish Sprinkles. Is there, like, a problem?
Maybe. What you wearing there, Trish Sprinkles?
Like, what am I wearing?
Are those jeggings or are those leggings?
They're jeggings. Why?
Told you.
They're a bit tight, Trish. How old are you?
That's like none of your business.
Fashion police department, ma'am. And we're just doing our job, okay?
And, like, what is your job exactly?
To serve and to protect the better fashion sense of haute couture society.
What?
We're inquiring right now about your jeggings. Now, what age are you, ma'am?
I'm like 38.
Whoa.
Jesus.
Whoa.
I think you're a little old to be wearing jeggings, ma'am.
But 15 years.
Like, what's wrong with jeggings?
Nothing if you're a teenager
Yeah.
or maybe in your early 20s.
20s tops. Yeah, they're a bit tight, too.
Look, I can wear whatever I want.
Ma'am, I can clearly see your monkey box.
My what?
Your monkey box, your bologna sandwich, your gopher hole, your taco grande, your chum bucket.
Like my vulva?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, no, ma'am, we prefer you not to use language like that, okay?
Like what? Vulva?
Ma'am. When you're at home in your private residence, you can refer to your stinky Pete however you want, okay? But when you're out in public, you need to use better language than
It's
that.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, what do you care?
Nobody wants to see your banana split, ma'am. You wear jeggings like that, especially when they're too tight. You show everybody your panty marmot. And at your age.
Yeah, you should know better.
Like, who are you people? You need to go away.
Now, listen, we're going to be writing you up on several citations. Age inappropriate leg wear, clothes size violation.
Jeggings should look like pants, not like denim colored body paint, ma'am.
Okay, I am like walking away
Don't
right
make
now.
me tase
Hey,
you.
ma'am.
What's going on here?
It's all right, officer. We got this.
We got this call that a couple of individuals are impersonating police officers and harassing people about how they're dressed.
No, officer. This is clearly a misunderstanding. We're FPD.
Yeah, Fashion Police
Okay,
Department.
that's not really a thing, and I'm going to have to ask you not to harass people.
Don't make me tase you.
No, officer, please.
Okay, now, you're threatening a police officer. You are all under arrest.
You can't arrest me. The color of that uniform is terrible.
Navy blue is not your color, officer.
Put your hands behind your head.
You'll never catch me, pig.
Run, Peppercorn!
We've got a runner. Don't make me tase you.
That's Marlon.
This has been the Fashion Cops. Stay tuned to When Feminazis Attack, only here on the MRA Network.
You can find our episodes on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, and you can plug our RSS feed into your favorite podcast apps such as Podcast or Podbean. Our RSS feed can be found on our website, which is promotingsecularfeminism.com. On social media, you can find us on Facebook.com/promotingsecularfeminism and Twitter, we're at secularfeminism. If you'd like to contact us, you can leave us a comment on our website, get in touch on Facebook or Twitter. Or you can email us at promotingsecularfeminism@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you with any questions, comments, or corrections you might have. Talk to your local feminist to find out if Promoting Secular Feminism is right for you. If after listening to this episode you experience butthurt for more than 4 hours, consult your physician. This does not include the after effects of being fucked in the ass because you love Jesus.
As you may have heard, we've got ReasonCon 3 coming up in 2017, and we have announced the dates for that conference. It will be April 20th through the 22nd, 2017, and it will be at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Hickory, North Carolina, as it has been for a couple of years now. Our keynote speaker will be Lawrence Krauss, and we also have Matt Dillahunty, Aaron Ra, Callie Wright, and we'll have a bunch more people coming. So definitely, keep checking in for more information. You can visit reasonnc.com, or if you want to find out more up-to-the-date information, go to @ReasonConNC on Twitter to find out that information. And we hope to see you there, as this will be Promoting Secular Feminism's first official appearance at a secular conference. See you there. Women are increasingly living religion-free lives and embodying the values of humanism and skepticism in their activism and professional work. There is an upcoming Women in Secularism conference. This will be the fourth of its kind, which will bring together a diverse lineup of speakers to address what it means to be a woman in secularism, not just in theory, but in practice. Come be a part of this important conversation. It will be September 23rd through the 25th, 2016 in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. And this conference is proudly presented by the Center for Inquiry. If you want to find out more information, visit womeninsecularism.org. And we are hoping that we might be able to get a Ms. Behaven and Demand Right out there. So definitely check that out, because we are really interested in trying to get there.
You are listening to the PSF In da.
So let's move on to something
Foiled
else.
again.
Let's
let's talk about issues that are important in feminism today.
Okay.
What are some hot button items that are on top of the list right now?
Get your crawl.
The top 2, reproductive rights and equal pay.
Okay.
I would say probably one in the top area right now as far as being controversial is, for some people, is the huge move to be trans inclusionary and genderqueer and non-binary inclusionary in feminism. And to, instead of saying female with all of our issues, to say women, besides possibly reproductive rights. And even then, you never know. So it's best to use the term woman or women instead of female, because
it has a biological connotation.
We're including people who identify as women.
Is there
And there's a whole section of feminists who are TERFs, trans exclusionary radical
that was my
feminists.
question.
Yeah. We are not those.
No.
I'm glad you
They're
explained
very,
that.
very wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't even thought about that.
I wouldn't either.
There are lots of those.
They're conspiracy tenfold nut jobs who think that men want to be women in order to get like into the club or something. Like they're infiltrating womanhood. Like it's just stupid.
And that somehow transgender and non-binary and genderqueer people can somehow not possibly have the experience of women in life, despite the fact that they are probably having even worse experiences in life because they're transgender and non-binary and genderqueer, which would automatically put you in an even more marginalized group than women.
So now would they be considered the feminazis?
See, I wasn't even going to say that term. I'm sitting here thinking I'm gonna say it. No.
It's just so wrong. I mean, I tell people I'm neither a feminazi nor a grammar Nazi. Like, no Nazi here.
Well,
but I am.
You're not a man
feminist.
hater either, so apparently you're just a bad feminist.
I'm not doing feminism very well.
You're just bad.
Some men I hate, but not all of them.
Sorry. I'm not a man hater or a woman hater. I'm an equal opportunity hater.
There we go.
That's true. I dislike people equally.
This is true.
People have to work hard to be hated by Miss B.
Yes, that's true.
She loves everyone automatically. Like you really have to work for that.
Yeah.
Me, I'm like, you need to prove yourself.
Right.
Like, I'm not sure about you yet.
She wasn't sure
I'm
about
go
me
ahead
until
and assume you're an asshole.
Yeah, she wasn't sure about me until we've been married 10 years.
She's like that guy at the bridge who's like, you have to answer these questions in order to pass the bridge.
Right.
Are you an asshole?
Yeah.
Let me ask you again. Are you an asshole?
Are you sure you're not here just to piss me off?
If they say yes, then they get thrown into the bog of eternal stench.
Oh, shit.
Okay. So, Major Mac, you got any questions?
Well, I was wondering, what would you guys consider? Because I know I've heard your show many a times. Ha ha.
I wonder how that happened.
I don't know. What would be the best way for people to be a good feminist ally for you guys?
Very good question.
I don't call men who are feminist allies. I call them feminists.
Yeah.
Like, so like you can be a feminist too.
You too can be a feminist. We want you to be a feminist.
But I do get what you're saying. There is a point where when I'm trying to advocate for something that's important to me, if you interrupt me and try to, like, oh, this is what she means, tell my story for me or shape my thoughts for me, take over the conversation and that sort of thing, like that really bothers me.
I know.
So you don't want a man to mansplain feminism to you?
It's not just men either. It's people who think that they know more than you about what you think.
Right.
So it's like you don't want somebody to think-splain you what you think because it may not be what they think it is.
Major Mac and I have had this discussion many times. We're working through this in our relationship.
Oh yeah.
Because he
Ruh-roh.
So no, this is good. This is actually a really good story. When we're in a group of people, will only talk about me. So like when I go into that group, his conversation is about me. My wife demanded this, blah, 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 And so I feel like what he's doing is introducing me to that group of people through his perspective. I don't get a chance to go into that group of people and be myself and introduce myself in the way that I want to be known. Like he shapes their view of me before I get a chance to do that.
In other words, I blow her up like the goddess I think she is.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing.
Puts her on a pedestal.
Bad idea. And, you know, and it's because he's my biggest fan. Right? He really is.
Right.
And so we go into a group of people and he wants them to know all about my greatest accomplishments and all of this stuff. And it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I understand why he does it, but we've had the conversation many times. It's like when we walk into a room of people, talk about yourself. You know, and then I'll talk about me, and then I can introduce myself to those people in the way that I want to. Like I don't want
I believe she's more interesting than I am, so I'd like to talk about her.
That's a problem with being somebody's biggest cheerleader is that they will not talk about their own accomplishments.
Right.
So then you're the one building them up. I have the same problem with Mr. Haven where like we'll be in a group and I'll be talking about like his artistic abilities or writing abilities or something.
Oh yeah,
like that.
it makes him uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's like, no, it's no big deal. And I'm like, no, but seriously, it's awesome. You should check it out. Because I'm always trying to get people to check it out, whatever it is. I am the marketer.
Right.
Yeah, the other thing that often I feel like happens to women in a group is when they do speak for themselves, someone will try to reword what they say. It's like, well, this is what she means.
No.
It's like, I think I just said it, you know, like I don't need you. Like they feel like, well, maybe she just was like, if we don't get a good reaction, maybe she was just misunderstood.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to reword that. This is what she meant.
That's especially annoying in a debate where you say something and then somebody else goes, what I think she means about this. And you go, no.
That's not
it. I just said what I mean.
Yeah.
If I need to reword it, then tell me to reword it. Don't say what I mean for me.
Because
we can speak for ourselves.
What Major Mac does, and we've had this conversation, he rewords in a more emotional way. And like he'll explain me in terms of emotion instead of in terms of the way that I'm trying to logically construct an argument. And the way women are most often dismissed in groups is by like emotional responses. Oh, are you upset about that? Are you angry? Right. So anytime we have a point to make, they'll make our arguments emotional. Right. And so that's the way that we're kind of written off in group scenarios.
I do really hate being dismissed as being emotional because if I'm fucking angry, then I'm angry and I make a good point. What the fuck is wrong with that?
Yeah, you're right. It's not a binary, but I'm very careful in situations where I'm in a lot of people. I'm like, I'm saying this very rationally in a more monotone way than I would normally say it. So you don't feel like I'm just being angry. You know?
You do that. She does that on our podcast too, where, like when she's getting in like a ranty tone, she's like, okay, bring it in.
So, but that's the thing that I don't like. When people reword my arguments, they tend to make them more emotional than I would make them. Yeah. So we've had that conversation before. Major Matt can tell you.
Oh yeah.
So he's really like he's learned and he's interested in learning, which is one of the things that I really appreciate about him. Now, when we go into groups, he's very much, you know, he lets me speak for myself. And when he says something, he says, I think this, like it's his personal perspective. It's what he wants to say. It's about him. And it's not rewording what I said.
See, you can teach old dogs new tricks.
And something that I got asked a couple of times when we were at Reason Rally is what is secular feminism? And the simplest manner that I could come up with to explain it was just feminism plus humanism plus advocating for the separation of church and state. A secular government that would benefit all of us.
Well, I think, you know, most people who are feminist tend to be more secular.
I have noticed that, yes.
So the secular feminism might be a bit redundant, but the reason that we use the term is because we entered the secular community consciously and as feminists, as women, and found that in the secular community in particular, there was a lot of anti-feminism and misogyny and that sort of thing.
And a lack of women. I mean, a lack of representation and really a lack of diversity overall.
And it's changing in the right direction, I believe, and quite quickly. But I think, so we consciously used those terms together because we are really talking to the American secular community.
Right.
Like, this is what we think you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, I often, and I think I want to talk about this on PSF sometimes, but I often feel like as feminists in the secular community, we have sort of a different perspective, a double vision almost. Like we exist both inside and outside the secular community as it's already constructed simultaneously. And so there's ways in which, we have perspective, I think, on things that are going on in the secular community that, men, for instance, wouldn't have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So to finish this up and to round out, just give us and I know you've already touched on it a little bit, but do it again. What's your podcast about, and why are you guys doing a podcast?
If you do what the podcast is about and why, I'll do the plug at the end. This is how we do this.
If you guys haven't noticed, PSF is all about plugs.
Okay, we're promoting secular feminism. Yeah. So the reason that we're doing the podcast is we were in a humanist group.
Are
in a humanist group. Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Yeah, you haven't.
We're still there.
Still there.
We
Just
have not
you don't have
revoked our
time for it
memberships
anymore.
because we're feminists.
We exist in a humanist group, and the secular community, and I call it a community consciously, because I remember entering into the local secular community, and it is heavily influenced. Not that everyone in the group agrees with everything that the people on YouTube say. That's not true. But even in our local humanist group, a lot of people watch the same YouTubers and listen to all the same podcasts. And coming into that group, like, nobody outside of the secular community knows who these people are. So it's very disorienting. Like, coming into the group as a new member, and they're like, and Aaron Ross said, I'm like, who's
that?
Yeah. And he's like super duper atheist famous, but you don't know that coming into it.
Yeah. Atheist famous. I like that. We're atheist famous.
Atheist famous. And so, to come into that group and to have come from a background, an academic background where feminism is a given, it's not something it's not really debated,
Right.
And to come into a group where they're like, this is the way you construct an argument, and you're not logical, and that's a fallacy, the end. Like,
I know that guy.
Yeah, and it's like every time you bring up anything that has the word feminism in it, it is automatically dismissed.
Yeah.
By a lot of people on that online community in the podcasting, YouTubing, that kind of thing community. And the idea basically behind the podcast was behind the promoting secular feminism.
You know what? I think though I want to interrupt you for just one moment. I think it's in the comment section of the YouTubers.
Yes, that's true.
That's true. Just because there's a lot of secularists out there now saying I am a feminist.
Yeah.
And their comment sections just really blow up. So
yeah, I think a lot of it was blowback too from the whole atheism plus thing that happened.
Yeah.
But the idea was to mix some education about what we feel our feminism is, how we want to relate that to our humanism, and also some comedy, because a spoonful of comedy helps the feminism go down.
Ooh, I like that.
Gotcha.
yeah, and I feel like it's if we were just doing a serious feminist podcast, like I'm doing the humor and the whimsy and the comedy, I'm fucking daring you to dismiss me when I do that.
When I'm talking about lube, like who else is going to be talking about the osmolality of lube?
Because really, men can have all sorts of podcasts. They can be funny. They can be crass. They can be very serious and informative.
They can be assholes, and nobody is mad about it.
And I think, I expect that someone who tunes into a feminist podcast expects a certain thing. And they're not going to get that from our podcast. Like, I can be just as funny or as whimsical and informative as I want to be. And I dare you to dismiss my information just because I'm engaging in a bit of humor or crassness or whatever it may be.
Well, I know I've learned a lot by listening to the podcast.
I have too, and I'm involved in it. Well, we all are. Everyone is.
I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot while doing the podcast.
Yeah.
So
Start taking notes when I talk about sex positivity stuff, and I take notes when you're talking about feminist theory. So there we go.
Well, I'm back in the couch taking notes myself.
We learn from each other. So, again, we are Misbehaving and demand a right of promoting secular feminism. Our website is promotingsecularfeminism.com. You can find episodes on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Play, and we're also on Facebook.com/promoting secular feminism, and on Twitter, we're at secular feminism.
Well, I just want to say that I am here 90% of the time when you record. I usually go through the recording quite a bit, even though you do the majority of the editing.
we record in Atheist Avengers
I
Studios.
go through a lot of it whenever I get it and I'm producing it, putting it online. And then I also listen to it again the next day when it downloads to my podcatcher app. There's no other podcast that I listen to 3 times in a row when it comes out. So, and I've told y'all this before, but I'm going to say it again. I'm very proud of you guys, you girls, you ladies.
Women.
I'm just going to cover all the bases.
I'm so proud of you people.
You a bunch of
human beings.
Nuts.
You vagina owners.
Drunk bastards most of the time.
Yep. Yeah.
But I'm really proud of you. I think it's awesome. I do not regret, putting my own podcast on the back burner for a while to make sure that the focus was on you and getting up and going, and y'all do a great job, and please keep up the good work.
Oh yeah.
And you magically came up with a co-host out of all of that
I know.
too.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
He fell right off the penis gallery. So, well, I think that's going to do it for now. I'm sure the PSF ladies will be back around at some point.
Thank you for having us on your podcast.
You're always welcome. Always welcome.
Oh, yes.
But I think that's going to be it for right now. With your permission, I'm going to play some excerpts from your podcast.
Absolutely. Do it.
And at the end, I planned on putting one of the skits. And
sweet.
We'll discuss, and you can tell me which one you think
something
will be
with dildos,
best.
probably.
It's definitely going to be about dildo. It's got to be the dildos.
Is there a single one that doesn't actually talk about dildos?
That's what I said.
I think it's referenced a lot.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
It's all about plugs.
But if you have not listened,
I wonder if they're plugs for vaginas. Like if you don't want your vagina bald, and for some reason, like maybe something happened and your vagina went bald, can you get plugs there?
Well, there's Modesty Merkins.
Well, I know the Merkins, but you need something more permanent. Like maybe you don't want to take your Merkin on and off.
Oh,
there's
like
plugs. Okay, I'm with like hair plugs.
Yeah,
I'm
hair plugs.
There's all kinds of plugs for vaginas. What are you talking about?
Hair plugs.
Those are called dildos.
I got 3 of them under the desk right here.
Miss B knew what I meant.
Pretty much what happens on our podcast.
Like, no, maybe. This is a serious problem. Like, maybe you have a partner who enjoys a full bush and something happens and you don't have one and your bush is skimpy.
That's what Merkins are for.
But no, like
plus
those
you can have
come
fancy
off.
colors.
Like, if you're
if
you're hanging upside down in your sex swing,
it'll stay on there. You just gotta use
or
a little bit of
no, like you can't glue that shit to you.
Yes, you can.
No,
hair club for vagina.
How do you think they do fake facial hair on stage?
You're not just the president.
All you need is some spirit gum, and you're good.
No.
Ooh,
I think this needs to be a thing. If you're out there and you want to do plugs for vaginas, I say go for
plugs
it.
for vagina. Hey, that might already be done.
Hair plugs.
We'll have to look it up.
I should be specific. Hair plugs.
That's
plugs.
our idea. Nobody can steal it. We're gonna make $1 million on it.
Copyright. Reason Alliance Media.
Wait a minute. Is the whole having that bush thing coming back though? Because for a long time it's like being.
Oh, do you know that? Actually,
We're way over time here.
The instance of like crabs and stuff went way down because everyone's shaving the bushes.
Crabs actually are in danger of going extinct.
See, I never understood anyway.
Which is awesome.
I was going to say,
great.
That's not a bad thing, is it?
But no, I heard someone told me, and I can't tell you who, but someone told me that now the latest thing is not shaving it all off or waxing it or having a full bush. It's sort of a bit of shrubbery.
Like a landing strip.
Yeah.
Landing strip, a little heart.
A little mohawk.
An arrow.
Yeah, something like that.
See,
something.
Flashing neon sign.
We manscape.
Manscape.
Yeah, we manscape.
Okay.
We just make sure that it's not out of control.
You have like airline director
bullshit.
people.
The more you shave, the bigger it looks.
Oh, and there we go. That's going to be it for the Atheist Avengers this
That's a
time.
soundbite.
We'll have more from the PSF ladies later, but thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Are you someone who likes dildos? Well, come on down to Dildos, and More Dildos and Anal Beads LLC outlet store. We've got dildos. In solidarity with Target and other businesses, Dildos, and More Dildos and Anal Beads LLC outlet store is removing all gender-based signage for all dildos, anal beads, and other sex toys, as well as our large selection of lingerie and sexy costumes. We have the largest selection of dildos in the Northeast, outside of Manhattan and parts of Atlantic City. And now you are welcome to enjoy any of our gigantic selection of dildos and other sexy products, regardless of your gender identity or sexual preference. Choose from our huge and ever-growing selection of dildos and dildo-related products. We have large dildos and small dildos of every color, shape, and texture. We have realistic dildos, fantasy dildos. We have dildos in the shape of things that aren't dildos. We have dildos in a variety of materials, including rubber, plastic, silicone, leather, glass, stainless steel, vinyl, cyberskin, nylon, ceramic, hot candy, paper mache, Kevlar, and rebar-enforced cement. We got dildos for the amateur, professional, and veteran dildo user, and every experience level in between. We got anal dildos, strap-on dildos, double-headed dildos, triple-headed dildos, dildos with suction cups, dildos with facial straps, dildos with liquid pumps, inflatable dildos, and vibrating dildos. We have dildos for every occasion, for sexy times, orgies, and parties, and more. We have dildos for anniversaries, honeymoons, and even dildos for divorces. We have Christmas dildos, Halloween dildos, Hanukkah dildos, Arbor Day dildos, Thanksgiving dildos, Independence Day dildos, birthday dildos, unbirthday dildos, Boxing Day dildos, Groundhog Day dildos, President's Day dildos, Bastille Day dildos, and dildos for Dia de los Muertos. Now you can shop for the dildo, any dildo you want, free from constraints of social conditioning and gender labeling so prevalent in our Western culture. It doesn't matter to us whether you're a woman, a man, bigender, transgender, non-gender, gender fluid, gender queer, intersex, or whatever. We have the dildo for you, free of labels, bias, or judgment. We love our dildos, and we think you're not only going to like our dildos, you're going to love them too. Don't like dildos? Well, never fear, because we also have vibrators. Clitoral vibrators, butterfly vibrators, rabbit vibrators, anal vibrators, Hitachi magic wands, Sibians, G-spot vibrators, vibrating bullets, vibrating eggs, remote vibrators, finger vibrators, oral pleasure vibrators, luxury vibrators, scary vibrators, and discreet vibrators. We got blow-up dolls, sex robots, pocket pussies, penis pumps, sex swings, prostate stimulators, pleasure sleeves, body replica masturbators, replicas in breast form, vaginal, oral, anal, and full torso replicas. We got butt plugs, Benoit balls, French ticklers, sex pillows, violet ones, and sex machines. We got BDSM gear, ball gags, paddles, whips, chains, floggers, straps, canes, nipple clamps, cock rings, blindfolds, gags, ropes, harnesses, bondage tape, bondage belts, bondage pants, collars, chastity belts, vacuum beds, human pony harnesses, spreader bars, genital jewelry, and a large variety of sex furniture. All for your consensual exploits in the bondage and sadomasochistic experimentations. Now for the first time ever, completely free of gender-specific labeling. And of course, we have a variety of prophylactics, condoms, dental dams, latex gloves, and lubrications, both oil and water-soluble, edible, of every conceivable flavor, odor, and viscosity. All without gender-based signage to limit your exploration, sexual expression, and self-discovery. We love all genders here at Dildos, and More Dildos and Anal Beads LLC outlet store. And we believe you should be able to enjoy the sex toys and apparel you want. We love our customers almost as much as we love dildos. And we really, really fucking love dildos. And we just want to bring you and the object that you want to put inside yourself together. Provided you buy them here at Dildos, and More Dildos and Anal Beads LLC outlet store. Because whatever you put in your body is your business and ours. Official. I didn't bring my whip. I'm sorry.
Fuck it. Do it live.
No. Not now.
She only does it with dead corpses.
Oh, like
What?
Me?
What?
And she likes you to watch while she does it.
Well, yes.
That's why she's peeking.
Well, there's my sound clip for the end right there.